Hoi punters, corporate media is not going to tell you this, but the Australian economy and our standards of living is being driven into the ground. I'll give you one guess as to by who. Take a watch. So, recent global catastrophes has made life a little bit difficult, but not for everyone. I've just made a video, let's take a watch. If you've seen it, skip it, we'll chat after.
Hey, I'm just an everyday punter.
Hey, Punter.
Hey, punter. You want me to start? Sure, I guess it's been pretty tough. First the pandemic and then...
Oh, good times.
Sorry, that was just when our profits went up 56%, so...
Good. Nice. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, it was nothing. I mean, all those small businesses closing really helped out, but... Sorry, it's not about me. Back to you. Yeah, and then I guess the war in Europe really contributed to a sense of... Did you guys see the iron ore prices after Putin, Profits went up $1.6 billion because of that.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks. Sorry, keep going. Yeah, keep going. Sorry. Now, with the cost of living crisis, rents have never been higher, these interest rates. And my energy prices have... Oh. I'm sorry, you guys want to share?
Well,
we made another...
You go first.
We made a bonus $2.7 billion thanks to those interest rates. So. But you're going to say something.
I don't know if I can follow that, but...
Go on.
All right, well, our profits are up 400%.
All right. Hang on, you guys are making record profits off of these global catastrophes.
Pretty much, yeah, I mean...
You don't care that you're driving inflation and making everyday Aussies poorer. We care about our shareholders. He's right. I'm telling the government. Should we tell him that we can't control the government?
So that's clearly not new, that corporations have captured our government so severely that corporations like this literally get away with anything they want. The report I was referencing comes from a recent report done by Oxfam, and here's the headline. The Australian companies that profited $98 billion from global crisis. While average punters like us are generally suffering under global crises that have occurred, the pandemic, war in Ukraine disrupting supply chains globally driving up prices, more and more different crises have happened, and things are getting kind of tougher for we punters, I would assume. However, it seems not everyone's doing it tough. Australian companies pocketed $98 billion in crisis profits. Obviously, the profits made off the back of things outside of their control that turn out to be catastrophes. So between 2021 and 2023, as a result of global turmoil, according to new analysis done by Oxfam. So what they did is they compared profits before these global catastrophes took place, and then while it was happening, and then after. So they allowed for 20% growth. So 20% growth in 1 year is a big bit of growth, but they allowed for that and then counted above the 20% growth. And then that's kind of, I guess, how they came with the $98 billion number. But I'm not an economist. Fact checks welcome. Citations necessary below, and I'll have a look. So obviously they're concerned about it because it's a big factor in the very rapid growth in inequality. Australia is heading the way of the United States. That is no mystery. And this is part of the reason why. There is a growing concentration of wealth. Which companies and industries benefited most? We've got Woolworths, we've got banks, NAB, $2.7 billion in profits, Woolworths, $5.6 billion amid accusations of price gouging. We bloody know you were price gouging. AGL, that's another monopolistic in the energy sector. I think in this report here, it says they had a profit increase of 400%. That is insane. 400%. NAB accused of $2.7 billion in crisis profits. So I believe this is the number above the 20% buffer that they say, yeah, we won't count it at a 20% increase, but the increase above that adds to $2.7 billion in crisis profits. Iron ore went really well. Obviously, war really helps the iron ore industry, I suppose. Gina Reinhart's company, Hancock Prospecting, records $5.8 billion. Good for you. Supermarkets, coal mining. So you can kind of see these trends here. Here's the top 5 industries. Iron ore, coal mining, bank. So this is, whoa, far out. Okay. Holy. So These companies' profits absolutely exploded. And here's the catch. Not only did these corporations make massive profits, they also exploited the crisis to make even more money. By example, Woolworths price gouging. They know inflation's going up, so what do? They put up their prices by more than inflation and say, it was inflation made us do it. And they can do it because Australia's industries are more concentrated than even America. Well, that's kind of obvious because America has a bigger population, so they would generally have more competition than us, so I don't know if that's the headline. But at the end of the day, Australia's most dominant firms face fewer threats from new rivals with concentrated markets linked to poorer service, higher prices for customers, a new report finds. And the report was done by the E61 Institute. That's these people here. Lack of competition hurts us the most with high prices and poorer services. Let's correlate what are Australia's most concentrated industries and who has been exploiting global catastrophes for their own profit. Let's take a look. Well, major areas like mining, utilities, finance, retail and trade. We've got Rio Tinto, BHP, AGL, Origin, the big four banks, supermarkets, Coles and Woolworths. Let's go back up here and let's take a look at some of these sectors again. Oh, would you look at that? BHT, Woolworths, Santos, Whitehaven. So we got mining represented. We've got NAB represented, the big four banks. So it just so happens that the current oligopolies, I'll just use the word monopoly because it's simple. It just so happens that the monopolies in Australia that have all the market power, when a crisis came knocking, they had the ability to exploit it. Because normally in a situation, if, Woolworths was trying to price gouge and there was competition in the market, someone could compete, lower the prices, and therefore there would be competition, and then the competition would undercut them and Woolworths would have to come back down because they'd lose business. However, these sectors do not currently have enough competition. So then when a crisis comes knocking, they just ratchet up the prices and absolutely make a killing. In the meantime, while they're doing this, okay, good for them. They're making heaps of money. Well, I've shown this article before. Lee Van Osland, this is my go-to. RBA finally admits that companies are driving inflation. Serious analysis has been done on what has been driving this round of inflation, and the majority of it is corporate bloody profits. And that's why corporate media isn't going to tell you this. Because one, corporations own the current media landscape, Channel 7, 9, 10. All the billionaires own the propaganda machines. So they're not going to tell you that their main advertisers and their main investors and their main shareholders are the ones that are driving inflation. What they're going to tell you is that, it's workers' wages. You want to up minimum wage? No. That's going to drive inflation. Who cares that economists have pointed out that raising the minimum wage will not drive inflation, that keeping workers' wages up with inflation will contribute very minimally to inflation, because the main driver and the main cause is bloody corporate profits. What can be done about this? Well. Turns out that there is something that can be done. It's called a Winfall Profits Tax. According to the BBC, a windfall tax is a tax that's imposed on companies that have benefited from something that they are not responsible for. Now, that is the key. Obviously, energy profits around the globe soared because of COVID and obviously Russia's invasion. And then other companies just managed to make massive profits. And if you're in the Australian situation, you have companies uniquely positioned to exploit it to get even more profit. Now, instituting a windfall profits tax would potentially discourage exploitative behavior. And it's not to say that you're taking all of the money off this company. Like they've just said, you can institute it however you want. The company could still see in the 2022 revenue a 20% profit increase because of all the stuff that's happened. And then the government would just take what's above that. If your company still increases 20% profits, that's huge. It's not going to discourage investment because you just made a 20% profit. You're just saying, we're all suffering right now. We all have to pick up the bill. And this is where the money has come into the economy, into this distorted section of it. So we're going to do something equally a bit distorted and take it there so we can boost everything else. And we all benefit from a stronger economy because we've just shifted it around to another section of the economy and supported a section of the economy like healthcare or something that's vital for a society to function, so that in the long term, we all benefit, not just profits for the short term. Let's take a look at the countries that have bloody done this. Here's a map. The orange here, the gold here is already implemented. That's most of bloody Europe. Poland proposed, Norway announced, France, Germany, like the UK. So the Conservative government, this is the bloody Tories, I think under Boris Johnson, introduced a super profits tax, a windfall profits tax of 25%. Now, this article goes on to say, could be better, here's where it wasn't that good, etc., etc. I'm not going into the detail here. I'm talking about concepts. And the concept of introducing a windfall profit tax, like every other bloody country has done. We sit in Australia and we just absolutely cop it. So back to here, $98 billion. These companies that were already the most wealthy companies that Australia have just got $98 billion more. And might I remind you that half of them don't even bloody pay tax. So they're really not contributing at all. And in the case of Woolworths and some other companies, they're actively exploiting it. And in the long run, what does that do? It is driving our inflation. That once again, we the punters, you and me, we are on the hook to fix this inflation problem when the RBA ups interest rates if you've got a home loan. If you don't, then I guess it's not as bad for you, but inflation's still going up. Your paycheck is still going down. You're probably not getting a pay rise. If you're lucky, you are. Is there any good news? Well, let's see if Australia has learnt its lesson. We've established that certain industries in Australia have too much market concentration. Some of these companies are exploiting that market concentration to get excess profits, driving inflation. So are we going to fix it at all? Well, Treasurer Jim Chalmers has just given the green light for ANZ to take over Suncorp. So our small-ish banking sector just got smaller. So, nice. And I think this just recently, there was a proposal for Coles and Woolworths for the ACCC to have powers to break up Coles and Woolworths and to block different mergers, to give us the same powers that the United States government has to break up monopolies if there's not enough competition in a market. Once again, if you believe in the free market, this is good. This means more competition. It means less consolidation. It means it's better for the consumer. So if you're a capitalist person and you're a free market person, you want the government to have powers to say, no, you can't merge with that company, and you've done the merger for some reason and there's too much concentration. Whoopah, blam, we've broken you up. Now there's two firms where there was just one. And without getting too complicated, everyone does actually benefit. Even shareholders benefit from different breakups and things like that. But that gets above my pay grade. Scott Galloway is a bloke that I heard talking about this, and he's a big proponent of governments using powers they have, or governments having powers to break up companies. So anyway, Coles and Woolworths won't be forced to break up. So I believe the Greens put a bill to the Senate that would, I guess, make it easier for the government to break up the duopoly, Coles and Woolworths. I'm not sure how it was written. That can be in the weeds. Fact checks welcome, citations necessary below. But it was knocked back by both Liberal and Labor. And then we come all the way back to who has captured our government. And I think we have our answer right here. So I wish I had better news for you, punters, but I do not. Let me know what I missed in the comments below. Fact checks welcome, citations necessary. Massive thanks to We the Punters over on Patreon. If you want to show your support, you can head over there and share this with a punter who might not know just how scammed we're getting. Give the video a like, hit the bell icon, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers, punts.